Welcome back to another video on Gearsaw Studios, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build the Backrooms, complete with some ideas for the monsters, actual stuff for the floors and ceilings, of course assuming Chaos Cubed update, and even some extra decorations. So that way you can fall into a pit filled with dripstone while being chased by a wither skeleton. So right into it. First, hide it somewhere. Really, just act like this is a secret base. And let's make it decently large. Of course, if it's just meant for a one-off gag, perhaps make it a little bit smaller than 81 by 81. Anyways, now we go to the corner of the room and we start with some mushroom. Add a second layer of any mushroom on top and then remove it. This can be quite arduous, but I can assure you this is very, very good texturing. Now, the walls, I strongly recommend sulfur. The Chaos Cubed update is coming soon, but if it is not out yet, then smooth sandstone is a good choice, as is stripped bamboo. In fact, that latter one might be slightly better depending on what you're trying to do with it. Then for the ceiling, assuming you did not use it for the walls, smooth sandstone. Although the square pattern of smooth stone seems to be better, the yellowish tint of the whole place means that it's better to use sandstone even if its color is slightly inaccurate, because it's realistic to how the room would be perceived in the actual backrooms. Now, we have this big open area, but it's kind of dark. This can be quite arduous, but if you get a simple frog light farm, or if you can't afford that, then glowstone or shroom lights, then we can just go in and copy it. Right here, you can see my command was a bit bad, but luckily I fixed it. The edges are still a bit messed up, but I think that adds to the uneasiness of the place. Now, place down some walls. Do note the Backrooms is not a maze. It is not built like that. It's just a series of weird rooms, and they should flow into each other. You can have little pieces of the wall that are lower or higher, so that way it adds a little bit of variance. Things you could hypothetically stand on in real life, or things that would prevent tall things from going through. Do this throughout the whole area, and this can take a very long time. But if you have some repeating patterns, big walls you just randomly place blocks into and then extend it upwards, and some holes, then you'll end up somewhere. Be sure to add random pieces of normal things in here, even if their gravity or characteristics don't line up, like a chair sticking out of the wall because it was partially absorbed. Additionally, remove lights in some areas to create creepy dark areas. This just adds to it. So, once you add all of your random stuff, you can see these cross formations all throughout with some connected walls. It makes it just weird. It's not completely random, but the consistency is not obvious. It's meant to be a liminal space after all. So add slightly familiar objects. And you can even add pitfalls into the floor, black concrete holes with dripstone at the bottom. Then you can conceal your entrance, hide this place however you need to. So we have all of this, and you can see I can firmly get lost. You can also add arrows to point people into certain directions. You can also add things like bike racks. So in here we even added the two holes. One of these leads to death, the other one, death as well. But still, you can see how this illusion of choice here adds to the whole sensation. We also have this bench, but you can see it is deliberately made so you cannot loiter on it, hence the fence gate. The pitfalls here, of course, a reference to an episode. I've never actually watched a Kane Pixel's Backroom series, but still, these holes have dripstone at the bottom to delete anyone who happens to fall into them. And we also have a random birch door, because that makes it uneasy. This arrow here funnels people into one area of the Backrooms, so it adds a sense of importance. When you have the monsters, then it will make it more difficult. It's like a challenge. And you see, it all funnels into here, which happens to be another hole. Hooray. So now we have all this, and now we're down to the last section, the monster. A wither skeleton is more accurate, but there's an alternative, the warden. However, I'd say the warden is an issue. Both of these mobs are hard to transport, the wither skeleton coming from the nether and being dangerous to get near. But the warden, although incredibly dangerous, very hard to get towards, has the darkness effect, which adds a lot to it. So you can see this pulsing really makes it scary. However, we do have a problem. We can kinda hear it. And Yeah, that's not really something we want. That ruins the surprise, and additionally, the warden cannot be escaped once aggroed. Instead, the wither skeleton, although relatively benign, works better, especially because you cannot actually walk away from it consistently, you can't gain distance, and thus you have to expend some stamina, your hunger bar. When you do this, eventually you will end up running out of hunger and not be able to flee. So, if you give limited food to anyone stuck in the back rooms, it's suddenly a lot more dangerous. However, there's still an issue. One, the name tags, but also the fact that if you're at least somewhat competent at the game, although it takes a while, a single wither skeleton is not going to kill anyone. So you can see here, I can safely get rid of it, and just by sheer luck, I have a stone sword, which means I can defeat the other wither skeletons. While if you're in a creative mode map, netherite armor can help with this. You can see the knockback resistance isn't completely total, so you have to be careful. Perhaps giving them resistance or something would help, along with pitfalls, because you see, I just fell in right there. But now, we have a completed Backrooms maze. You can hide this however you need to, but regardless, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe, it really helps me out. Either way, enjoy the rest of your day. Gearsaw out.